Hi, welcome back to SoulsMeet. Coffee again. Yes.
She loves her coffee.
It's just really, really nice to just sit here and talk about people.
Well,
with coffee
caffeine is in your system. I
Mhm.
can't relate.
I know you can't. But it's just so cozy. And wasn't this the whole point of this podcast, Yarina de Los Angeles?
What was the point?
The point was to have very cozy, chill time together while we judge people.
Yeah, that was the
That
whole
was
point.
the point. Are we succeeding in it?
We really are. We really are.
I'm gonna ask the same question that I did last episode. Do you think people actually get our humor?
Guys, please comment.
Do you get our humor, or are you in every intro you're just what?
These girls are messed up.
Yeah, that could be.
If that's what you think, that's okay. But if you do get our jokes, let us know.
I know. We want to laugh together.
Yeah.
Collectively.
We love laughing with you. All right. Well, if you're new here,
welcome.
Hello. Our
Hello.
names are right here. If you're not new here, welcome back. Thank you so much for being here. We're going to tell you what we do here.
But just before, remember to like, comment, subscribe, and you can also follow us here.
That's our Instagram handles.
Yes. So, we are two best friends who are going to read stories off of Reddit from the thread, am I in the wrong, or
am I the asshole?
Pretty much. Yeah. And after, we are going to play
rock, paper, scissors,
piedra, papel o tijera in Spanish.
That's right. And the winner goes first, and she gets to give her take, perspective, idea, opinion, and the loser has to go second and has to try at least. Normally we succeed at this. Sometimes there's no other point of view, but she has to try to give another perspective, take, or opinion completely different from the other one. Why do we do that?
We do that because we believe there are many different perspectives in one situation. Even if you're going through something right now that is really hard, but at the same time you're just I am in the right here. What is this? Why are these people being so stupid? You know what? There's a big chance. I'm gonna give it to you. We don't know, but there's a big chance that there is another perspective in the whole thing, and you could also be the bigger person.
That's right. Most of the time, that's the case. Sometimes, however, there's no other perspective. No. You're wrong, or you're right, no. And we are here, thanks to God.
Thanks to God.
Sent from above to judge.
Appointed by the gods.
Appointed by the gods to be the judges of earth and mankind. Yeah. So, since that's our job, we must get started.
Yeah, it's very important.
First story. Am I in the wrong for telling my son he's the reason we had to leave his aunt's house? I have 2 kids, 6 female and 10 male. Shit happened, and the kids and I needed a place to stay until I could get on my feet. A friend that I haven't seen in years heard about my situation through a mutual friend and offered for us to stay with her family for a while. Very nice.
Very nice.
She's married with 4 kids, 6 female, 4 female, 3 female, and a 13-month-old male.
Whew! Oh my God.
And is pregnant with baby number 5. What?
They're very nice. Just because even if they have a big enough place, they're very nice.
Very nice people. This friend is an absolute angel. Yes, she is. 2 of her kids were adopted from the foster care system, and I'm not the first friend she has taken in. She's a literal angel. Husband is in tech, and my friend is a director at a local private school. They have a big house with a huge playroom.
She's a director plus having 4 kids and one on the way.
Pregnant with 1. Yeah. They have a big house with a huge playroom and a massive backyard with a play structure and a pool. AKA, these people are rich. She had me complete a background check before moving in. Wow. I don't know how I feel about that, but okay. We were moved in by the end of the week once that cleared. She moved my daughter into her oldest daughter's room. They became immediate best friends. My son got a small room that was previously used for storage. but had been beautifully decorated for him, and I stayed in the guest room. Now, my son can be extremely defiant. I've tried therapy with me, individual therapy, working with behavioral technicians, and everything else you can think of. He's a great kid at school, but once he gets home, everything is a power struggle. There can be lots of arguing, and he can be rough with his sister. My friend talked to me before we moved in about my son. She told me that she wants to help, but if the situation starts becoming harmful to her kids, she will have to kick us out. He did,
Oh, I see where this is
yeah,
going.
he did great for a couple weeks. Then he started to test boundaries. He was punished. Then he started teasing his sister and my friend's oldest daughter. We were given our only warning. I talked to my son and tried punishment again, and he went back to messing with the girls. I was told that they were willing to keep my daughter until we get settled, but my son and I needed to be out that night. They got us a hotel for the week. Then we were on our own.
Wow.
We bounced between hotels, motels for a few weeks, and now we're in a two-bedroom apartment that almost definitely has mold problems, while I'm applying to different income restricted apartments. I've decided to keep my daughter with them until we are somewhere with a little more space and it is in a slightly better condition. I visit my I visit without my son a couple of times a week, and we spend weekends together. The other day, my son was mad at me and said that I favor his sister because I'm letting her stay at the good house while he has to live here. I was just about done with his defiance, and I told him that the reason she gets to stay there and he doesn't is because his behavior got us kicked out. He chose to ignore us when we talked to him and punished him for repeatedly taking food from the girls, shooting them with his Nerf guns, etc. So now he has to deal with the consequences. He has been so upset since then that I am now wondering if I shouldn't have told him why we had to leave. Okay.
This is complicated.
There's a lot.
Wow.
Okay.
I want to lose.
Piedra, papel, tijera. Un, dos, tres.
Of course I won.
Yes. You wanted it.
The ¿cómo se llama? El epítome de mi vida.
The epitome of my.
When
That's the epitome. Anyway.
Yeah, you know what I mean. Um Okay, so I thought when she asked, she was like, "Am I in the wrong for telling him you're like it's your
You're the reason.
fault. You're the reason." Um I just don't know if those are the words that she used because at the end of the story, she was like, We were kicked out because of your behavior." And that I am not against of speaking to your son about, like being fully honest that his actions have consequences. So I don't know, like if that's the case, then I think she's in the right for telling him.
Okay.
Um, if you used the right words and sat down with him and said, "Listen, I know you're upset because you would like to be in the good house. And I agree, that's a really good house. And I was really happy that we had a place to stay. And your sister does get to stay because she followed the rules of that house." Now, the thing is, like, your son being like this, there is so much there that I think needs to be tackled first. Why he has the need to seek attention, why he has these feelings. It can be also sometimes for kids, it can be like an imbalance, like a chemical imbalance. That's like the extreme of it. But yeah, like there are so many reasons as to why your son is behaving like this that he might not even understand himself. However, I do think the right conversation, he's what, 8?
Yes.
The right conversation of like
Or 10. 8 or 10. I don't
8 or
remember.
10, I think that's already an okay time to sit down and the right conversation about our actions have consequences. And when you were asked repeatedly to not be mean, not do these things, not do these actions, especially because that wasn't our home. I don't know if there is a way to explain this to a 10-year-old. because we're visiting, maybe you are it is your, it is your responsibility to give your child a a roof, right? And I would be very cautious into guilting him that he doesn't have a home, or he doesn't have the home that his sister has right now, and it's his fault. So that's why I think you're not wrong on making him understand that his actions have consequences. However, make telling him that it's his fault, that's where there has to be a line between the two. That's
Yes.
what I think right now when I have no children.
Yeah. I agree. I think he needs to understand. I think he needs to learn about consequences, and I think he needs to learn about social behavior. However, I think she's wrong because clearly, I don't know the past. I don't know what caused you guys to be homeless, essentially. There's no mention of a father around
I'm thinking that shit that happens has to do with the
with that.
father. Yeah.
I assume that too. However, from what I am seeing, this is a child that's old enough to not only process what's going on, but have a lot of emotions and thoughts and feelings around it. Who knows how long this has been happening? Who knows what kind of environment you had that led up to this for your kids? And I'm not blaming you. I'm sure you're doing your best. But I'm just thinking that obviously he's acting out on purpose. And I think him doing all of those things is obviously for attention because he maybe doesn't get that from you in the way that he would want it, or he hasn't gotten it from you in the past. So I think it's actually wrong. I there's two things that I find wrong here, and this may be not okay with some people, but I actually don't think that she should have left her
The
daughter
daughter. Yeah,
in the good
I
house.
had a that slight
Yeah.
moment. Yeah, yeah.
I understand that is the good. I understand like that's way better living conditions. I'm sure she gets not only to be with her friends, but good food. Like I'm sure that is a good house. But you going away with your son and leaving her there, I would feel like he feels. I would feel like you prefer my sister. Why does she get a chance to stay even though it was technically his fault? I think you have to bring your children. You have to treat them equally. You have to do what's best for both of them together. And I think him already communicating that to you and saying, why does she get to stay in the good house? You like her more. He's literally telling you how he feels. And in that moment, I don't think the answer should have been, it's your fault, actually. I think
Yeah.
there's a way better, yeah, there's a better way of communicating that and explaining to your son that his actions caused the owner of the house to say, this is too much for my children. I'm sorry. You need to take him away. But saying it's your fault, I think
Yeah,
adds
that's
more
I
of
know.
the I am not as good as my sister. She loves my sister more than me. So I think it was actually wrong.
Yeah. It's really
It's
hard.
a
I was
very complicated
Yeah.
situation, but
Yeah,
yeah.
it's really hard to,
Yeah.
because you also, I guess you could argue like in that moment, and I agree. I was, for a second I was like, why didn't you tell your daughter? Like you should have taken your daughter and just being like, we're together, we're a unit. Um, I guess in that moment you could also argue like, at least she can have some normalcy
Yeah.
in that moment.
Yeah.
And if she's having a great time with like with the friend, Yeah, it's yeah, it's complicated.
It's very
It's very
complicated. I
complicated.
get the normalcy. Like that's where I struggle,
Like
right?
you
But
would
I
be like,
just
can she at least have this?
yeah. But I just it was a very long time. Like
And I
she said several
wonder,
weeks.
yeah, and I wonder maybe the conversation at the beginning with your son was for him to also understand like, hey, we're here and these people are doing a as a great favor. Like we're
Yeah.
staying, we want to stay here for a while.
It sounds like really, really intense behavioral
Mm-hmm.
issues that
Yeah,
her son has. But I also wonder, 'cause she was like, I tried, family therapy, individual therapy, behavioral therapy. How long did you actually stick to those
that's
things?
a good question.
Because this is a child we're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't have the ability to choose. If that's what you want for him, you do that. And those people are professional enough to be able to handle a child that is not cooperating and not necessarily giving them what they need. They know how to work with children like that, and eventually that child understands. Okay, I have to sit here and I have to work. So I don't. I
Yeah,
also wonder how long she actually like
tried.
tried.
And there's a lot of changes happening, right? So it's like, I mean, obviously being in this house wasn't working out. So now that we're talking more about it, I'm like, it was already a possibility that that was going to happen. You already knew from the beginning. This person even told you from the beginning, like, if this happens, this is going to happen. So, and I guess how that makes, like, I think you should also be very careful in like how you feel towards, oh, it's your son's fault. Like, not only like was it right or wrong, not like right now when we're talking about this, I'm like, if I think of it again in the way that you're putting this whole story again, now it makes me feel like you actually do think that it's his fault.
Yeah, she does. I feel like she
And
does.
it's not really his fault per se, because he has behavioral problems. Yeah, it's a consequence of his behavior, but you shouldn't have to be in that place anyways.
Yeah,
Like, like
yeah,
this is something that you need to figure out, that of course whatever is happening, there's empathy here, and obviously like it must be really hard and all of that, but it's like also you being able to separate the fact that whatever, regardless of how it's happening, it's not his fault that you got kicked out,
yeah,
because it's
yeah,
that you don't have a place, or that you don't have a like a good place to stay, or that you had to be in this situation. You were going to be in this situation anyways because you need to provide your children with a roof. It just so happens that you had this help. So I guess you also need the guidance.
hmm
You need the guidance to be careful with your own feelings as well, of how you actually could think that this is his fault per se,
yeah,
and not just a moment like we said before, just an opportunity to be like, listen, like there are consequences. They gave us the space to stay, but we needed to follow their rules. We didn't, so we had to leave. It's more of a like the collective situation of our family, and that's where your daughter living with you enters
yeah,
the thing.
yeah, exactly.
Second
Wow,
story.
complicated. Yeah.
Am I in the wrong for telling my daughter she doesn't have the right to mourn or go to her ex friend's funeral after what she did?
What did she do?
Who knows? New account, since my daughter does know my other account. The fact that she needed to just so you guys know. When my daughter was in school, she became friends with a girl named Kelly. They stayed close through college, and my daughter was even one of Kelly's bridesmaids when she got married. To explain where my daughter's behavior came from, my ex husband cheated on me repeatedly, and our marriage ended horribly. My daughter doesn't speak to her father anymore, and she absolutely despises cheating. About 7 years ago, my daughter became convinced that Kelly was cheating on her husband. She started harassing Kelly online and essentially blew up her life. I had no idea this was going there.
Whoa.
By that time, by the time my daughter found out that the man she had seen Kelly with was actually a relative,
Oh Lord.
they were at a fancy restaurant together, it was too late. Kelly's marriage had already fallen apart, And because we live in a very religious community, she was ostracized by
Oh
many people.
no.
They had a huge falling out, and it basically came down to my daughter ruining Kelly's life. Kelly blocked her on everything and eventually moved away. Kelly hated my daughter after that, and so did her mother. I still run into Kelly's mother occasionally, and she has made her feelings about my daughter very clear. The issue is that Kelly recently passed away. My daughter found out through a Facebook post, and the funeral is this weekend, 2 states away. My daughter was planning to attend the funeral, and I told her that I thought it was a terrible idea. She said that she needed to go, and I told her again that she shouldn't. We got into an argument, and she said that she had every right to mourn her friend and attend the funeral. I told her that she really didn't have the right to mourn Kelly or go to the funeral because Kelly hated her after everything that had happened, and because my daughter had destroyed her life. She hasn't spoken to me since. Now I'm wondering if I should warn Kelly's family that my daughter might show up at the funeral, or that I might be, or am I in the wrong here?
Wow. Two very complicated stories. Okay.
Again, I don't want to win.
Watch.
Oh, shoot. Piedra,
Piedra,
papel o
papel o
tijera.
tijera.
Un,
Un,
dos,
dos,
tres.
tres. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I think you're wrong.
Okay.
I think you're wrong for I think you're wrong for saying that to your daughter. Yes. There's a very clear reason as to why she shouldn't go to the funeral, but I will leave that to you.
Mm-hmm.
Um however, the way that I see this, death is so much bigger than that situation. There are some situations, I believe, that even in death you leave, you are not a part of, you whatever. But I think this one, for me, I would want to be there. And I know her mother also doesn't like her, but these are people that grew up together, they went to college together. She was a bridesmaid in the wedding. I think there's a history and a past and a love. The mistake she made was massive and huge, and I don't know, I cannot even begin to process how you didn't have a conversation with your friend first before blasting her in public. But she's dead. And I think your daughter's already dealing with a lot of guilt, I'm sure, from the
Mm-hmm.
situation, knowing that she was wrong and knowing that her friend is now dead and she's not even able to apologize for what she did. So I don't think hearing that is what she needs. And I think as her mom, you should be trying to help her navigate the situation. And if she wants to go to the funeral, even go with her, support her. Because at the end of the day, I know what happened, but her friend died. A friend that she was very close to. And she is in the right, I believe, to mourn her.
Yeah, the thing with these stories is like sometimes it's like it's half and half in the sense of like I I think she's in the wrong for telling her that she doesn't have the right to mourn her. But I actually think she is in the right to advise her not to go to the funeral. Um, I think, and I'm gonna stay with that because that would be like the other take. Because mourning her, of course, she needs to mourn her. It's very important. Like that, I'm like I agree with. Like, why would you? That's not what she needs right now. I think a lot of it probably is guilt because they didn't have a relationship right now. Like Kelly had to move states because of what your daughter did. And not only your daughter, but what the community did. Because whatever happened, I don't understand how this goes from it was a huge misunderstanding, and obviously that was not to this is a relative. Like, how come nobody understood this? And it was like, okay, this is a, like, how does
Yeah.
marriage fall apart from a real lie and misunderstand? Like, I don't, that's the part that
That's
I'm like,
weird. It's weird.
this
Yeah.
is weird. Like, what, how does a full on marriage falls apart from that? The only thing I can think of is like, it wasn't a strong marriage to begin with.
They already had
So the
problems. Yeah.
fact that the community, what's the word,
Ostracized.
ostracized her like that, it's like, it's a little weird. It's, and I know it's religious and all of that, and because it's religious, and we know how religious religion can be, I don't know which one, but how they can be with specific things, and they can be extreme. That's why I think they shouldn't go to the she shouldn't go to the funeral. um I think I would sit down with her before just passing judgment and being like, you did this. I don't know if in how much your daughter apologized to Kelly, apologized to the family. Like, did your daughter ever take accountability for what she did? Because if she didn't at all, and she was just like, okay, well, like, I obviously would like to know. There's a lot of context that we don't have, but if your daughter was the type of person who did this, and then it was like, okay, well, and she didn't actually try to mend what happened and be sorry and apologize immensely to Kelly, because I would, over and over again, if I did this, your daughter already has, one thing is to be um affected in life because of what, something that happened to you, like your husband cheated on you and like she's very traumatized, and a very different thing is to just go and try to do this to somebody's life because of your experience. That is so wrong. And I'm imagining that she was already an adult. Like, this is, there's a lot of parts here that your daughter was just like not okay, and she did all of this, and this is the result and all of that. Did she actively try to apologize in life when Kelly is alive, right? That doesn't mean she can't mourn her. So I think that's where I'm like, you should have sat down before passing judgment and be like, I understand what you're feeling. I understand also the guilt that you're going through. I understand everything that is happening to you and your feelings, and I'm here to mourn you, to mourn with you. Like, you 100% can mourn the years of amazing friendship, how close you guys were. But I myself would tell her not to go to the funeral, because if this was what happened, and again, if she didn't try in life, and her family, the people who were close to her, should have that time, because this is something people remember her about, like how her life just fell apart. Like, I don't think, and I know grieving is different, and I know everybody needs different things, but I could think that your daughter is being a little, I'm gonna go ahead and say selfish, to believe that her presence there is more important than the pain that could have her mom could have gone through, you know. Like, her mother, her people, the people close to her, like, this destroyed her life. Like, it was really hard, and they need to do their own forgiving to towards the daughter. They need to do their own thing and hope, and we never know, it could very well be a moment of like forgiving. But I think I would try different things first. If I would try reaching out to the family, maybe I would go visit her grave later, or maybe I would try to go in a time, like, I think she is in the right of thinking, should I warn them at least? Like, it's a very complicated time, and it wasn't just like, oh, we're just not friends anymore. It was a really hard thing that the daughter did. So again, I think it's not okay to tell her that she can mourn her friend and what happened, but I think I would also advise her not to show up at the funeral, because it was really sad.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ugh.
Complicated stories today, but that allows us to have multiple perspectives at
Multiple
least.
perspectives.
But thank you so much for joining us
Yeah.
this week, and we'll
And
see
if
you
you
next week.
wait, I was gonna say,
What?
if you destroyed somebody's life, apologize.
Please apologize.
Apologize.
Yeah.
This is really sad. What my where my little reflection is going,
It's
but You never know what could happen to somebody. Just go apologize.
Yeah. Yeah.
Apologize. Say
Yeah.
apologize. Apologize
Apologize.
multiple times, especially if you did this. Like,
Yeah. Yeah. Well, thank you for
thank you.
joining us and see you next week. Bye.